I make this joke quite often when we do these kind of things that I feel like Jim White, but I certainly do feel like Jim White tonight, except I've substituted a yellow tie for a Tesco uniform. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome along to the Celtic Transfer Talk Deadline Day stream. It's half an hour till the window shuts up here in Scotland, or just under half an hour now, as we wait to see if anything happens in the last half hour in relation to Celtic Football Club and the January transfer window. I've got Ryan McGinley beside me. Ryan, I'll come to you in a second. He's going to be watching and waiting with me as we wait to see if anything happens for Celtic in this remainder of and look, Alex said it there on the button, Tesco loyal. I've got to be loyal considering the place is shut, and I've got to show my colours where I can. I thought, ways well for half an hour. Let's go for it. I've got TweetDeck ready on the right hand side in case anything comes up, anything breaking happens. I just seen Jordan Gray Photoshop me onto the Jim White photo. I've got Ryan McGinley. Ryan, how are you doing, mate? Welcome along to this late stream.
Yeah, it's transfer deadline day, or as Celtic fans call it, Monday. It's been a bit of an uneventful day. We've seen Urhoghide leave the club today with an option to buy, which was a bit of a shock. Montgomery away to Aberdeen, which is a good move. But in terms of the incomings, there's not really been anything.
No, there has not, and there's not really been much talk either of anything. We've not had the pleasure of Fabrizio Romano news. We've not had the pleasure of breaking articles. I mean, just maybe we'll get something in this 25 minutes or so. I very much doubt it. But the whole point in this stream anyway isn't just to sit here and hope for a manic decision or something to happen. The point is we're here to talk about the transfer window as a whole anyway, and we've got some things to talk about from today on the outs of things. You touched on it briefly there, McGinley. He talked about the likes of Asasi, Urhoghide, Adam Montgomery, even Kerr McInroy and such gone out on loan. So we'll try and uncover it all while we wait for something to happen. Twitter is a very quiet place. But I mean, Ryan, there's one thing I've got to bring up. Robert Snodgrass has just been released from West Bromwich Albion. Is this finally the time for the Snoddy move?
I seen that Paul Tim had retweeted that. He'd be desperate for that move to come off. But no, I think that ship is well and truly sailed.
I mean, I was sitting there in work all night tonight, just staying off my phone, to be honest. I was hoping that I'd maybe come out. Here, Lewis Laird's in the chat, by the way. I need to, number one, before we go any further, with speedy prayers and recovery to the man. And some breaking news, kind of. Vasilis Barkas, he has been offered out to several Turkish sides. No response as of yet. So if we get to see Barkas leave the side live tonight, then that will be quite something for me. But Lewis Laird got me on that tweet deck. We are here for that, and I'm keeping a close eye on it. So Ryan, where do you want to start tonight? And we want to start with some of the players who have left the club before we talk about the transfer window as a whole, and before we start talking about everything else, and maybe before we get a Barkas away tweet. Let's talk about some of the guys that left today. You were the one that pointed out to me earlier on Twitter that Osazi Urhoghide was, well, here's perfect, brilliant here, Paul McMahon, perfect timing. Thank you very much for the donation, Paul. It is much appreciated. £4.49. What do you reckon of the Osazi deal, including an option to buy? Happy with the window from Celtic so far, and think we might see a Rangers part 3, hail. But listen, we have to talk about that. Osazi Urhoghide leaving the club on loan. That was expected, I think, right? I think we were all expecting maybe to leave the club on a loan deal, but I don't think any of us were expecting Osazi Urhoghide to go with an option to buy on his clause.
No, because I'd heard that they were trying to push for a permanent deal, Ostend, but Celtic weren't interested in that, so we've given them a loan with an option to buy, which is basically the same thing, is it not? When it comes, I know what it basically is.
Yep. I mean, has there been any details announced on regards to the fee that's included in this, or is it just an option to buy?
No, what I would hope is that the fee's a wee bit bigger than the one that they got for Jack Hendry. I've got to be honest, this is going to sound really, really harsh towards Urhoghide. He's not an Ange signing. He was never an Ange signing, and I highly, highly doubt that he was going to make it at Celtic. He played well in the Betis game, but even then I thought that was taken way out of proportion. I thought he was very raw in that game as well. Ostend are one of these teams that are going to develop players and then sell them on again. So, he's in a good place to continue his development. And at the end of the day, I don't really think he was breaking into the team as a centre half or as a right back. So I'm not really too gutted about it.
Yeah, of course. We've seen that Jack Hendry go to the same club, though, a couple of years ago. He got his loan move there. He ended up joining them permanently. He's now obviously got that big move to Club Bruges in the summer past. I don't know if Urigidi's going to quite follow the same path, but I must admit, Ryan, I do agree with you. And I don't want to make it one of those things. I'm saying it now because he's away from the club. I did have a lot of doubts about Asasi Urigidi. I did have the doubts that he was going to have the capability and the quality to make it as a player at this club. Now, I'm not saying I didn't want that to happen, of course not. I would love to see every player make it at Celtic Football Club, but ultimately, that's why you sign him. But you're near the head stuff there, Ryan, when you say it wasn't an Ange signing. We know he wasn't, and it's the same with even Liam Shaw, who I like. I'm glad he's got a loan move, but those two guys, they were pretty much picked out before we had a manager sorted. So, you know, they were going to, it was going to be difficult for Origi to get into this team. But we'll have to wait and see what happens, I suppose, with this loan move, how it works for him there, how he plays there, and whether or not he'll come back to Celtic in the summer window. Ryan, do you think they'll exercise that right to buy him if things go well?
I think if things go well, then they will exercise the right to buy, because I don't think it'll be that high. I think as much as you want it to be wishful thinking, for that fee to be higher than Jack Hendry, it'll probably be something similar. It might even be less. You never know. But, no, I think we've seen the last of Urigi, I'll be honest. And we didn't even see that much.
We did not see that much. We've seen most of his work on TikTok, to be quite honest, rather than anywhere else.
The Hayley Williams. We'll always have the Hayley Williams video.
We will.
He never did answer that.
Never did. Maybe he will when he leaves. Maybe he'll have the pressure off his back and he'll actually answer it. By the way, it's, 20 to midnight, and I mean, it's huge to say we've got 500 people watching live. Hello to the Night Owls. You've got nothing better to do with your time than listen to me and Ryan McGinn late this hour. So thank you very much. It is appreciated. Before we talk about the other outgoings, let's talk about deadline day in the terms of this, Ryan. We were hoping today, I see a lot of people bringing up Jota and Cameron Carter-Vickers, so let's talk about them. We were hoping today to have an announcement on in regards to Jota, maybe even Carter-Vickers, but I think the whole Celtic support was more ready and more, hoping for that announcement in regards to him. Are you disappointed we've heard nothing today thus far about Jota, or do you think it was always going to happen?
At this point, nothing's changed whatsoever. Because you can announce this at any time. Because we've got the option to buy on both of these players, we could announce it whenever. But it is disappointing. Obviously, like that, we left to even get like a wee notification coming through that we'd signed them permanently. But it's not a big problem. We can deal with that in the summer when it comes around. And I've got no doubt. Well, I mean, I do have some doubts. But
I was about to say, you've got no doubt. Christ, you're a confident boy there.
I'm still pretty confident that those two players will be Celtic players next season permanently.
I think one thing that has obviously made it more difficult today, and I don't mean to bring up them because I don't want to. I want to be talking about Celtic.
It's reactionary, isn't it?
That's one of the things that's happened today. Is Rangers have went out and they've made a big signing. They've made a signing of Ramsey, Gordon Ramsay. No, joking. They've signed Aaron Ramsey from Juventus. They've brought him in. I mean, Elliot McLean making his thank you for the donation, a wish version of James McCarthy, but they've went out and they've made a big signing today. And I think that has really put the pressure on Celtic from their own fans to try and get this deal over the line as quickly as possible. Maybe to try and top that announcement. Maybe just to show that we're still working hard on pushing to win this title. But I think that we have to be patient with this. It's not going to be something that was as easy to get done today with the hours left in the window. And as you've already said, Ryan, this could be announced at any time. This could come on April the 4th. This could come on February the 16th. It can come at any of these points as far as I'm aware, because it's just it's the clause that's in there. There is an option to buy. It can be exercised. It all comes down to the fact if he agrees to come to Celtic or not. That's the massive point. I mean, we've not even touched on the mass importance, I think, of Cameron Carter-Vickers as well. But he's in the same boat. These are two players that can sign deals with Celtic over the next few months. Celtic fans are obviously going to be reactionary to it, but I think that's probably added on a lot of the pressure today, Ryan.
Yeah, definitely. You see the other side of the city getting sort of a big name coming in, and then all of a sudden Celtic fans are asking for deals to happen that don't even look like they were happening like a week ago. They're looking for something to sort of shout about. But the thing is, we still get these players in our possession. It's not as if they're with their parent club. They're still at Celtic. They're still both locked in. They both had tremendous performances on both ends of the pitch at the weekend there. So it's good that we still got them. it's good. It's good that they don't have the recall in their loan deals. That would have been even worse if they were brought back in January. But it's good that they're still at the team. And like I said before, I still think they'll sign. And I think they're both of them signing is just as important as each other. I think Cameron Carter-Vickers is just as important to sign permanently as Jota is, because Cameron Carter-Vickers has given us this sort of stability at the back that we've not had in years.
Yep.
So
I think one thing that we have to touch on that I feel like a lot of people are quick to forget about, and this isn't me taking a dig at supporters, so I want Jota as much as the next person, but this window has been a great success for Celtic. But one key thing about this window, Ryan, that I think we all forget on a day like today, when we watch the opposition maybe make a signing, and we watch and we beg for Jota to come in, we got our business done really early, and that was a good thing. We got our business done early rather than late, and we made the signings we had to make at the start of the window. We brought in Yosuke Ideguchi, we brought in Dyson Maeda, we brought in Ryu Hatate. Before the window even opened, we managed to announce those signings. And I think people are quick to forget that when you get to deadline day and you do get that little bit of desperateness in you to see the likes of Jota come in. But we got most of our business and our necessary business dealt with as soon as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, we're building for the future as well. We're bringing in these young signings, 23, 24-year-olds that are going to stay with the team for the next couple of years. The thing about Ramsey, they don't know if he's going to stay after the 6 months.
Yep.
There's always that doubt. I mean, I'm not going to deny it's a good signing. He's a good name, but there's a lot of doubts about him as well. It's very one of those high risk.
It's one that I think we need to talk about on TSF more than anything. I've got a lot of opinions.
Absolutely. Although it seems in the comments that a lot of people do want to talk about Aaron Ramsey. It's just one of those ones, you know. He'll have a great view on Wednesday of what's coming.
Yeah. Jota and Carter-Vickers, of course, we are really. But I mean, Alex is making a lot of great points. Of course, Alex, dear friend of the show, one of the best friends of the show. Business done at the start, signings made a long-term vision in mind, and no just rash decisions. And I think that's pretty much spot on. And I mean, it's up to yourselves. I think if you want to determine whether or not you think that there's rash signings at other clubs, that's your opinion to have. But I think I speak for most Celtic fans in saying we are building with a vision. You look, Ryan, let's just kind of cover the ins then as we hit the kind of halfway part of this podcast, this kind of live show. Let's look at this inside of it, Ryan. Ryu Hatate, £1.5 million, just under. Yosuke Ideguchi, £850,000. Dyson Maeda, we have initially signed on loan, but we'll have the option to buy in the summer. The obligation to buy, sorry, so he is coming in, sorry. Johnny Kenny, £125,000, and Matt O'Reilly, £1.5 million. You're talking, right now, fees paid, less than £2 million there, Ryan, for 5 signings that are going to be, obviously we've not seen Johnny Kenny yet, we can't throw much of a judgment in there, but 5 signings there, Ryan, which are going to be probably big players over the next few years for Celtic, for all under £2 million at this moment in time.
That's absolutely brilliant. It's value for money as well.
It's about, what is it? Sorry, £3 million, sorry, my maths is all over the place, it's late at night.
If you think about the deals that we've done in the past, you look at Barkas and Ayeti for a combined total of 11 for 2 players that we'll get next to nothing out of. We'll get $3 million, and we're already bearing the fruits of those players. I mean, you look at Maeda scored in his debut. Hatate's been man of the match in 2 of his games, you would say. Matt O'Reilly was man of the match on his debut. I think Matt O'Reilly will be the steal out of a lot of them. I think that decimal point, I said it before, that decimal point will be moved before the end of his Celtic career. He's just class on grass, basically. And you know, we don't really know about Johnny Kenny yet, but he seems very highly rated over in Ireland, so we'll see how that goes. But we're already seeing these players make an impact in the team, which is all you can ask for.
Oh, well, breaking news. Big purchase in the transfer window just there. The New York Times has just purchased Wardle. Huge acquisition for the New York Times, buying Wardle. Obviously, a very big thing right now, Wardle. I just seen that pop up on TweetDeck. I was like, there's some transfer news for you. As we sit here... I mean, that's how desperate we are for some transfer news, and I'm bringing up Wardle's transfer to the fucking New York Times. But yeah, Ryan, in terms of ins, I think when you offered that, if we were sitting here on December 31st before the announcement of those 3 Japanese players, Hatate, Ideguchi, Maeda, and you showed me these 5 names and said, okay, by the end of the window, Celtic will have all of that, and I would have been very, very pleased with that as a transfer window in hindsight. So I think we've delivered. I think Ange has delivered, and he kept his nerve through it as well. I loved the way he conducted himself through this. We talked about how so many times he wasn't just going to rush into signings, he'd wait if the right thing came up, and I think that's one of the most important things about this transformation of Celtic and this transition into the new era. We've seen so much in the past, Celtic making pointless signings, making signings that, okay, on paper should have been good, but they weren't good because I think we've rushed ourselves into it, especially under Neil Lennon. So to see us now looking at it, evaluating our options and taking time with things, I prefer seeing that over the old ways.
Yeah, I'm really glad that they're taking this rebuild sort of seriously with their signings that they're making, because beforehand, when you look at signings like Shane Duffy, that was just a stopgap until this season coming anyway. He was just brought in to sort of finish the job off. Obviously, that didn't happen. But it's good that we've got a clear identity when it comes to scouting players. All these signings now make sense. You look at the players that we've brought in. Hatate looks like he's been there for years. Matt O'Reilly, you could say the same for as well. Maeda's going to be a good player, and they're all Ange signings as well, which is great. And I think that was one thing I wasn't too bothered about Urhoghide leaving, because I knew that he wasn't an Ange signing. Like even when Ange was saying we'd been scouting him for a while, I realised that that was the previous regime that was scouting him, and then we've just taken that. But no, I'm just glad that we've got a wee bit of an identity when we're scouting players now, which has been sorely lacking, I would say.
There has been. It's been lacking big time. We've cut Deadwood as well. We may as well touch on that as we wait and see. If you look at the outs section, the graphic on screen, ladies and gentlemen, you'll see all of the outs in this transfer window. A lot of loan deals. But Ewan Henderson, he left on loan, but will be moving to Hibs permanently in the summer. Liam Shaw is away out on loan to Motherwell. Connor Hazard, he ended up, was it in Finland? He's away. He's Helsinki.
Yeah.
I think he's away too. Leo Connor left on an undisclosed fee to Tranmere. Brody Patterson loan to Airdrie, was it? I think he went to Osazu Urhoghide to, of course, Ostend, as we discussed. Adam Montgomery with a loan deal to Aberdeen, and Kerr McInroy, the last of them, heading to Ayr United as well. Before we talk about it, thank you very much, to Connor for the £2 donation. If Ange deserves a new contract, how long? Sign him up for the long term, boys. 5-year deal. Get it on the table.
Well, I think he's got to get a new deal, because he can't be running on a rolling contract if we've got all these players. I think that's the biggest sort of a seal of approval that we're signing.
Yeah, you want to see the manager be rewarded, I think, with a contract. And I know people misunderstand what a 1-year rolling contract is. A 1-year rolling contract doesn't work like, at the end of every year it gets extended. It's like it just extends. Like you're there for constantly. You're there for a year until they decide to cut the contract. But I think that if you go out to the manager and you say, right, here's a 4 or 5 year deal. It lifts his spirit, it lifts the team's spirit, it shows the amount of faith you've put in the guy, and it just backs up everything we're trying to build at the moment. I think that would be a massive statement if Celtic did come out and give him a big contract that he probably deserves so far to this point as manager. But on the outside of things, Ryan, I think the biggest loan deal to see there today was probably Adam Montgomery's. Him getting the move to Aberdeen. I mean, Urhoghide's of course had that implication on it that he could leave permanently, but if you talk about players that play football, Adam Montgomery has had double-figure appearances this season, and had quite a number of appearances last season. That's a big move for him, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is, and I'm glad that I see a couple of people talking in the comments about there's an option to buy. I don't think there is with Adam Montgomery. We gave him a new 5-year deal last season, so he's definitely one for the future. But obviously McKenzie, that plays on the left-hand side for Aberdeen, has been injured for quite a while, so he'll go into that Aberdeen team, you'd think, and get games, which is absolutely vital. And you look at the Kilmarnock deal for him sort of petered out today, but I would much rather him playing on a proper surface than an artificial surface.
Yeah,
and he's playing in a higher league as well, so he's getting used to a better quality of player or a better quality of opposition player. So
and dare I say, he's of course reuniting himself with the great Scott Brown. So.
Jonathan Hayes.
And of course Sir Jonathan Hayes. But I mean, people might say it's just a sentimentality thing, and I like the fact he's with Scott Brown again. Scott Brown knows him. Scott Brown has obviously played with him. He's probably been a big part in his development last season on the training ground at Lennoxtown. For him to be with him again when he knows the kind of guy he is, and he knows how close to Celtic Scott Brown is, that is a positive. It's a small thing, but these kind of things add up. So I like that. I like the fact that
Andy's has experience playing at Pittodrie before. I know he didn't have the greatest game, but he provided the assist for Jota,
right.
which was one of our biggest wins of this season, I would say.
Yeah, well, we have got, oh my goodness, I thought that was Borussia Mönchengladbach there. It's no, it's Vancouver Whitecaps and Johnson making a signing from there. I thought they signed somebody for Gladbach. I was just a bit to go, excuse me. We have 8 minutes left in this window. Let's get some questions in from the people in the chat. Let's have some conversation there. We've basically covered everything we have. Ryan, before we do, for the last sort of 15 minutes of this stream, deadline day, 8 minutes to go. Do you expect anything to happen?
Roughly at midnight, I expect the transfer window to close and not open again until the summer.
Oh my goodness. Oh, is that it's 2012, bastard. Nearly fell for that there. I thought I seen something about Susan Boyle singing at Celtic Park, and I thought it was for Wednesday, but it's obviously no, it's for 2012.
Is that
right.
SMN?
Yes, of course.
He has a notorious wind-up on this part.
Of course. I don't expect anything to happen in these last 8 minutes, but stay with us if you are here in case anything does happen. We will be covering it, we'll be talking about it, and when the window shuts, we'll have a quick recap before we move on to thinking about bigger things on Wednesday night. If you haven't already, the Celtic the Thunder podcast is out. Great support on the show thus far, and you can listen to our preview tomorrow if you haven't listened on it, or tonight if you're up late. But let's loosely interesting. We're looking to two sides that looked for us before. Eric Kelly and Christie Aberdeen. A very good point, of course, Ryan. We've seen loan moves work in those clubs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I thought it was quite funny. I've seen an Aberdeen fan saying, "Why are we getting loan players from rivals?" I was like, when was the last time us and Aberdeen were rivals? Let's be perfectly honest here.
1983. I'll be alive. True.
But do you know what? They get a good time of Christie the last time. So I'm just hoping it goes the same way. Maybe it builds up a wee bit of muscle when he's at Aberdeen and comes back a better player for next season.
Do you want to answer the big
left back's up for grabs in the long term? You've got to say.
Yes. Of course. I thought we were hopefully going to go in for a left back today. Obviously, we heard rumours of Buchanan from Derby County for a little while, but that kind of died and petered out. Wow. By the way, now, thank you very much. £10 donation from the Bellahouston Harriers. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad it's Harriers and no something else. Oh, Christ almighty, of course. He's happy today, I can tell you that for nothing.
His dog looks happy in that picture too.
I mean, Rocky. Listen, let's get through a couple of questions. A couple of good ones I want to get in here. Do you want to answer the big one? Go for it. Ultimately, do you think we will sign Jota?
Yes.
You confident?
I mean, look at those celebrations at the weekend. He looks like a guy who's really happy to be here. And why not stay here and further your career? You'll get that move down south or abroad if you work hard for it, and it's a great place to be.
Yeah, I'm confident he'll come here as well. Of course, he has got that big dilemma in his hands. If he does get offered the time at Benfica, then he might think to himself, okay, I want to go back to my parent club.
Benfica's
I want to go back to my home country.
Proving ground as well.
Yep, there is that doubt in my mind a little bit, but I am confident he'll come here. I really am. I think Wednesday could be a big night for it. If we go out on Wednesday and we win that game and he just takes in all that glory after it, and he takes in, I mean, I don't want to sit here and say, oh, I definitely going to win the game, and that's not what I'm saying, but if we just get that would be absolutely tremendous. And I think that would help maybe try and bring him in. Thank you very much to Ben, £4.49. It's much appreciated. Elliot as well. Thank you for watching the stream. We've got so many questions. If you're desperate for your question to get answered, just keep putting it in the chat. We will come to it because I'm having to skip past questions and all the rest of it. Matthew Duff, will he play at left back or left wing at Aberdeen, do you think, Mr. Montgomery?
He might have to do both, to be fair, once Mackenzie's back, because Mackenzie was doing so well at Aberdeen before he got injured. You had Mackenzie on one side and the other Ramsey, Calvin Ramsey, on the other side. They were both really... I remember watching a couple of Aberdeen games at the start of the season and they looked absolutely brilliant going down the wing. But I think at the moment, Montgomery will play at left back, but he might get pushed further forward as the season goes on, I would say.
I know
but we keep reverting. Glass to decide.
We keep reverting back. I'll go to this one first. We can go back to Jota because Alex has asked, do you think Monty will feature regularly in the first team? Hopefully it works out for him. Aberdeen, I think he will. He will, to be honest. I think he'll feature regularly. I think he would get the football there. Let's go back to Jota for a minute. We have got a Jota-related question. I think it's a good point. It's been brought up by Douglas here. Douglas asking, do you think Jota is maybe waiting to see if we get the Champions League group stage football? He does have that amount of time there. he does have the option to wait until this league is done and over. So do you think that might be a factor in his decision making?
I mean, I don't know what Benfica's situation is regarding Champions League football. I'm presuming they'll qualify next season unless they're having an absolute nightmare in the Portuguese league. It's one of those ones that definitely helps if you get Champions League football next season. So if you got that confirmed, obviously through winning the league. I mean, even if you finish second, I think we go into the Champions League qualifiers, don't we? But it's like it's a difficult deal
It'll
again.
be tough. It'll be really, really tough. Yeah.
I mean, it'll be tough, but even if that was the case, we'd be in a better position because we'd have a more settled side, you would say.
Yeah.
But it would be even more settled if Jota was there to help us through that. But I mean, the focus is definitely finishing first and then getting that group stage guaranteed. And then if that's the case, then I think the board will have no doubt or have no choice but to sign Jota because it just makes sense. I mean, you're going to buy this guy for $6 million, you sell him for at least treble that, I would say, maybe even quadruple that.
It's a big claim, but it's a claim that I think we can all kind of agree on with what we've seen of him so far. We have got just about 1.5 minutes left until the window does shut. I mean, I think any chance of Celtic pulling anything out the bag now is virtually not going to happen. But we'll hang on 5 minutes after the deadline and see. You know, remember back in the day, the faxing issues and stuff you used to get. Remember Marouane Fellaini got to United and De Gea was meant to go to Real Madrid, remember? And it was like the fax machine fucked it. Aye. I mean, God's sake. You never know.
There was that one deadline day, and I think that was the one where they realised that they can't have fans outside anymore. That was honestly, I don't use this term often. That was one of the greats. That night was one of the great nights.
It was. That was, you know, football's never been the same since. It's never been the same. Nah. Do you think might make people bringing up? I've seen a few people, Matthew, right here, a few other people as well, asking about a Mikey Johnson loan deal. I mean, I think we're past that now. With a minute to go, I doubt we're going to see him.
He's not moved.
Do you think I was surprised he never went elsewhere. You know what? I really was.
Does he not have an injury? Or did he come on at the weekend, rather?
Did he? No, I don't think he did. And there's a good question I want to actually cover next. We'll talk about this in work, but I don't know if he did at the weekend, but I'm surprised he never got loaned out. Maybe it's a question of depth. Alex, again, another good question. Maida, we spoke about this very briefly in the podcast. What are you thinking about Maida on Wednesday?
Very small chance.
Very small. Shades of Effie Ambrose against Juventus.
I see. It's different for a defender and an attacker. He came back. He thought he was still with the Nigerian squad.
Just to cut you off, that is midnight. The bells have tolled. The clock has hit. It is the 1st of February. I have no sound effects. Ed Woodward is no longer an employee of Man United, which is great. But no, this is it. The transfer window is over. It is shut. Play the sound. Well, Ryan, that's that. We didn't get anything yesterday, I should say. It's a new day. Yes, it is. But it's over. It is over. Do you know what? I'm going to be perfectly honest. If you follow me, right, on Twitter, which some of you may not. There's McGinley tweeting already live on the show. Great window, absolutely great window.
I'm seeing too much negativity here. Sorry.
Yeah, if you follow me on Twitter, I have not for the last sort of, I've not even tweeted that much. I didn't think that Jota would arrive today. I didn't have any expectation this morning of him signing permanently. I'm not as disappointed as what some people are. Now, I understand it is frustrating, it is disappointing, but I think that a lot of the fans they really need to understand that, you know, because that happened at the other side of the city today doesn't mean we had to rush out and get that done today. We've got time. We can still make that signing. It wasn't do or die today. And I don't know if people don't understand that point of it. I'm not sure.
A lot of people are getting mixed up, yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are thinking that Jota can't sign for us now. That's not the case. I think that you all need to just, you know, positivity. Ryan, as the window shuts, and as you've just tweeted, a very strong and very successful transfer window for Celtic.
Absolutely. We've done the best business out of every Scottish team in the league, I would say. You look at the players that were brought in terms of instant impact.
Sorry, just to cut you off, but did you say out of every Scottish team in the league?
Yeah, we've done the best business.
Well, every team in the league is Scottish anyway. I don't think you had to. I don't think you had to.
Thanks for just took the breaks away from me, man.
I'm sorry. But what were you saying? You think we've done the best business in the league, you were saying?
Yeah, I think we've done the best business when you think about the players coming in. We're planning for the future. There's certainly no panic buys there. I'm not saying that anyone is a panic buy, but there is no panic buys there. They're all players that are going to be in and around the team in the future. So yeah, I'm pretty positive. Obviously, we'd have liked to have seen Jota signing, but that would have just been purely sentimental on the day. We can still work on that as we head to the summer. But we've got them just now. Him and Carter Vickers, we've got them in the team just now. So I can't complain.
I'm seeing, we've got obviously Mr. Duff here, not Matthew, Jimmy, who's saying, ha ha ha, you numpty, best business. Look, I think obviously a lot of people are going to make a big sort of deal out of the signing today in Rangers and Aaron Ramsey coming in. I am well inclined to agree with you, Mr. McGinley. I think we have had the best transfer window. I think we've done the best business. When you look at our signings, these are signings that are going to be here longer than 6 months. These are signings that are going to have an impact for Celtic for the next few seasons. And they've already had an impact in the first few weeks. Now, that is not me sitting here saying that Ramsey's not going to. Don't try and twist my words and say that Aaron Ramsey's not going to come into Rangers and do something. He might. He might not. He might have a Shane Duffy. I've been there before. But I think Celtic have had a transfer window which is going to have a massive impact on our club, our squad, and our success for years to come, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just glad that we're planning for the future with our signings. That was so important in our rebuild season. That this one is a rebuild season. I know we brought in 12 players beforehand. Now we've brought in another, 5? So that's 17. 17 players bedding into the team and we're in a title race. I think Andrew's doing a pretty good job. When you look at the amount of turnaround we've got in this team, it was important that we were bringing in players that are going to be here not just for a year, 2 years, but 3-4 years that we can make money off of down the line as well. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way we've conducted our business, and let's hope we can do some more in the summer.
Yeah, and maybe even before the summer, because as we've touched on, Jota and Carter Vickers, they aren't done yet. Got plenty of time. One thing that I'm sad about is we never seen that completed transfer of David Turnbull to West Ham. Really.
No, Jig's been on about it all day.
All day, all fucking year he's been on about it, man. he's been trying to,
for the past couple of years, has he not?
Try to talk that transfer into existence. I absolutely love it. It's some graft they put us in for it, and some of our folk actually believe it. It's brilliant. But yeah, no, look, listen. Deadline day, it's came, it's gone, it's finished. We got our signings in. We've done our business, and I'm buzzing. Do you know what? I'm buzzing now for Wednesday. I'm buzzing to see these guys get to test themselves, the likes of Rio Hatate, the likes of Matt O'Reilly. They're going to be thrown into a big game. And they're going to have a chance to really impress and basically back up what we've just been saying again. Like, we are pretty confident in our side's transfer business. We're pretty confident it's been the best January transfer window in this country. Wednesday's a huge stage and a huge opportunity for them to prove that.
Yep, absolutely. And I think that'll work in our favour. I mean, obviously famous last words, but these guys coming in, they're only playing in front of Celtic fans. This should be their dream, to be playing in front of only home fans. Get it's going to be a high intensity game, but these are the games that these players want to join Celtic for. They want to be involved in these Celtic Rangers games, so it's up to them to show themselves in the best light. And I just hope that they all turn up, because we know how good they can be if they turn up. You look in particular at Hatate and O'Reilly. We've seen them both at their highest level. Well, maybe not their highest level, but at a high level. Mm-hmm. So if they come out like that, then I think we should be all right.
So before we end off this stream, I want to hear everybody's opinions in the chat as well. But McGinley, I'm going to ask you, who was the best purchase of the transfer window for Celtic?
It's a toss-up.
It's like asking to pick your favourite child. I know it's a difficult one. But
I think one will go further than the other, but I'm just thinking about right now. I think Matt O'Reilly's the best signing.
O'Reilly, okay.
Because he's just slotted in so nicely into that team already. Everything good on Saturday. I know we weren't great on Saturday, but everything good from us was coming through Matt O'Reilly. And if this is him when he's just getting acclimatised to the way we play, how good is he going to be in 3-4 months? I think he's going to be a hell of a player. He already is, but he's even more so.
Nice. I would pick Rio Hatate.
I'm glad you said
But
that, 'cause you can talk about him now.
Rio Hatate, I think, has came in. He's looked great. He's once again, just like Matt O'Reilly, he's seamlessly came into the team without really showing any hesitation, without showing any sort of bedding in. That you know, he has bedded in. He's bedded in really well. And I think that he's came in. He's added something to that midfield we maybe didn't have. I know his performance at the weekend was maybe not as good as the first two performances, but we had an off day. I don't think anybody was that great at the weekend, but I think he's going to be a huge figure at Celtic for years to come. And I think he's the perfect blend of every sort of midfield quality you need. I think he's got it. I think he has it. And I love Matt O'Reilly as well. I think he's came in and he's done brilliantly. But for me right now, I'd probably say Rio Hatate.
I think for Hatate, you've got to say that was bargain of the window. Now I know that he's the one that we spent the second highest on. Yep. You look at the figures there. I think he's the bargain. I think he's a total unknown quantity in this league, although many teams are finding out just how good he is now. Mm-hmm. And I think he's only going to get better. He's at a good age as well. He's physically in a good place, and I think he'll only get better as well. I think those two together, Hatate and O'Reilly, will form a really, really nice partnership in the years to come, along with Cal McGregor in the middle.
Yeah, and I think that about does it. I don't think we have much else to add. I'm looking in the chat, everybody's getting their opinions in. I wish I could throw up every single one on screen. It's been a fantastic wee stream this evening. I enjoy these kind of deadline day things, and what is a big week for Celtic, of course. And I can't wait to be talking even more. Tomorrow there'll be a special guest on the channel, I think, for the first time. We're getting someone on, so hopefully that'll be a good laugh. Orange Stories in. Shout out to Ryan Shawcross, of course. Got to get that in. Look, listen, big week. I am buzzing. We did use the Tesco Club card.
Sorry, I apologise to anybody that was offended there. I shouldn't laugh at it.
We did use the Tesco Club card. We got those bargains. We've got that done. I'm happy. Ryan McGinley, thank you very much for joining me this morning, I should say. Yes, that was very good, very good. And we'll be back. Well, Ryan will be back on. God knows when we'll get the podcast filmed after.
Soon enough.
We'll have to have some sort of reaction to what happens. I'll be back tomorrow. And everybody, I hope you have a wonderful sleep tonight. Sleep knowing that Celtic have had a fantastic transfer window, and don't give up hope on Jota yet, because I'm sure that we'll hear some news sometime in the near future. If you have enjoyed, make sure to hit like and subscribe. Thank you all very much, and we'll see you all